Hello everyone, and welcome back to Living-ology, your go-to space for turning everyday life into a little bit of extra wisdom. No exams, no textbooks to cram, just a cozy chat that you can even drift off to sleep with. I'm your host, and today we're diving into Y1W03, Introduction to Kinesiology. That's a fancy word. I know it sounds like something you'd study in a lab with beakers and clipboards, but trust me, by the end of this, you'll realize it's just the science of moving your body, and it's way more interesting than it sounds. First, let's set the stage for what we're going to cover today, because structure is your friend, whether you're organizing your morning routine or trying to follow a lecture while your eyelids are getting heavy. We'll break this down into 4 equal parts, nice and neat. In this first part, we'll define what kinesiology really is. Spoiler, it's not just gym class science. We'll talk about its core pillars. We'll touch on why it matters more than ever in a world where we're all glued to our phones. And we'll even debunk a few of those viral fitness myths you've seen floating around TikTok and Instagram. Sound good? Perfect. Now, let's start with the basics. What is kinesiology? If you look it up in a textbook, say the ones used at Stanford or the University of British Columbia's kinesiology departments, you'll find a definition that goes something like this: the study of human movement, encompassing the biological, psychological, and sociological factors that influence how we move, why we move, and what happens when we don't move enough. But let's translate that into plain English. Kinesiology is the science that answers questions like, why does my lower back ache after sitting at my desk all day? Why do some people love running marathons while others would rather curl up with a book? And why does a 10-minute walk around the block make me feel like I can conquer the world even on my worst days? It's easy to confuse kinesiology with exercise science, but here's the difference. Exercise science is a subset of kinesiology. Kinesiology is the big umbrella that covers everything from how your muscles and bones work together. That's the biomechanics part, to how your brain tells your body to lift a coffee mug, neurokinematics. If you want the fancy term, to how society and culture shape our ideas about being fit, that's the socio-cultural side. Think of it like this. If exercise science is a slice of pizza, kinesiology is the whole pie, with extra toppings like psychology and physiology. Now, why is this important right now? Let's talk about a trend we've all seen over the past few years on YouTube, TikTok, even Instagram Reels: the desk jockey crisis. A 2023 study from the World Health Organization who found that 60% of adults worldwide spend more than 8 hours a day sitting, whether that's at work, commuting, or binge watching their favorite shows. And a 2022 research paper from the American College of Sports Medicine, ACSM, linked this sedentary lifestyle to everything from chronic fatigue to increased risk of heart disease, even if you hit the gym for an hour every day. That's the active couch potato paradox, and it's a huge topic in kinesiology circles right now. Here's a little bit of French humor for you, because we can't forget that touch of je ne sais quoi. In France, we have a saying, mieux vaut bouger que râler, which means better to move than to complain. But let's be real, sometimes complaining is easier, especially when your couch is calling your name and your laptop is open to another work email. But kinesiology tells us that movement isn't just about burning calories, it's about keeping our bodies and brains in sync. A 2021 study from the University of Paris-Saclay found that just 15 minutes of gentle movement like stretching or slow walking can improve cognitive function by 20% in the short term. That's why your best ideas often come when you're pacing around your room, not when you're staring at a blank screen. Now, let's debunk a viral myth that's been everywhere lately. You've probably seen it. 10,000 steps a day is the magic number for fitness. Where did that come from? Turns out, it's not a scientific number at all. It was a marketing slogan from a Japanese pedometer company in the 1960s called Manpokai, which translates to 10,000 step meter. Kinesiologists have been pushing back on this for years. A 2024 study from Harvard University's School of Public Health found that for most adults, 7,000 steps a day is enough to get the health benefits like lower blood pressure and better mood. And for people with joint pain or mobility issues, even 3,000 steps a day can make a huge difference. The takeaway here, it's not about hitting a random number, it's about finding movement that feels good for your body. That's the kinesiology way. Let's talk about the core pillars of kinesiology, because every good science has its foundation. The first pillar is biomechanics. This is the study of how forces act on the body when we move. For example, when you lift a grocery bag, biomechanics looks at how your shoulder, muscles, elbow joints, and even your core work together to make that movement possible. A classic study in biomechanics is the 1980s research by Dr. Vladimir Zatsioski, a pioneer in the field, who studied how athletes optimize their movements to reduce injury and improve performance. You see this applied everywhere, from the way Olympic sprinters position their feet to the way physical therapists design exercises for people recovering from knee surgery. The second pillar is exercise physiology. This is about how your body adapts to movement over time. For example, when you start running regularly, your heart gets stronger, your lungs can take in more oxygen, and your muscles build more mitochondria, the powerhouses of the cell. Remember that from high school biology? A 2023 study from the University of Texas at Austin found that consistent, moderate exercise can actually slow down cellular aging, so moving your body isn't just good for your present self, it's good for your future self too. The third pillar is motor control and learning. This is about how your brain learns to make movements automatic. Think about when you first learned to ride a bike, you had to concentrate on balancing, pedaling, and steering all at once. But now, you can ride a bike without even thinking about it. That's motor learning at work. A 2022 study from the University of California, Berkeley, found that practicing a movement regularly changes the way your brain's motor cortex is wired, so the more you do it, the easier it gets. That's why habits are so powerful, whether they're good habits like taking a daily walk or bad ones like slouching at your desk. The fourth pillar is the socio-cultural aspect. This is where kinesiology gets really interesting, because it's not just about the body, it's about people. For example, why do some cultures prioritize group activities like dancing or team sports, while others focus on individual activities like yoga or hiking? A 2024 study from the London School of Economics found that people who exercise in groups are more likely to stick with it long-term because it's not just about the movement, it's about the social connection. That's why spin classes and book clubs for walkers are so popular right now. They combine movement with community, which is a win-win-win. Now, let's take a moment to reflect, because Living-ology is all about connecting the dots between science and real life. When was the last time you thought about how you move your body? Not just, I need to go to the gym, but really thought about it like, how does my posture change when I'm stressed? How does walking outside make me feel different than walking on a treadmill? How does moving my body help me deal with anxiety or a bad day? Kinesiology isn't just about becoming a better athlete, it's about becoming a more aware human being. I want you to do a tiny exercise right now. No equipment needed, no sweat required. Just take a deep breath and notice how your chest rises and falls. Then wiggle your toes a little bit. Then stretch your arms above your head slowly, no rushing. Feel that's movement. That's kinesiology in action. It doesn't have to be big or fancy. It just has to be intentional. Before we wrap up this first part, let's talk about a hot topic that's been trending on YouTube and TikTok lately. Gentle movement for people who don't like exercise. A lot of people think that exercise has to be intense, like high-intensity interval training, height, or lifting heavy weights, but kinesiologists have been saying for years that gentle movement is just as important. Yoga, Tai Chi, stretching, even gardening, all of these are forms of movement that are good for your body, especially if you're new to exercise or dealing with pain or fatigue. A 2023 study from the Mayo Clinic found that gentle yoga can reduce chronic pain by up to 30%, which is why it's becoming so popular among people with arthritis or back pain. Another trending topic is movement snacks. Small bursts of movement throughout the day, like doing 10 squats while you wait for your coffee to brew, or stretching your legs while you're on a work call. A 2024 study from the University of Toronto found that movement snacks can add up to big health benefits, especially for people who sit at a desk all day. The idea is that movement doesn't have to be a big commitment. It can be a little snack here and there, just like how you'd snack on fruit or nuts throughout the day. I think that's a good place to pause for this first part. We've defined kinesiology, talked about its core pillars, debunked a viral myth, and connected it to some of the biggest trends in fitness right now. Remember, this is Living-ology. We're not here to make you feel guilty for not exercising enough. We're here to give you the tools to make movement a part of your life in a way that feels good, not forced. Before we move on to part 2, let me remind you, if you're enjoying this, if you're learning something new, if you're feeling a little more relaxed and a little more curious, hit that like button, share this with a friend who needs to hear it, and save it so you can come back to it later, whether it's for a midday pick-me-up or a bedtime listen. And as always, breathe deep, move slow, and let's keep learning together. Welcome back to part 2 of Y1W03, Introduction to Kinesiology, part of our Living-ology series. If you're just joining us, don't worry, you can jump right in. We're keeping this cozy, we're keeping this conversational, and we're keeping this free of any jargon that might make your eyes glaze over. In this part, we're going to dive deeper into the science of movement and pain because, let's be real, most of us have experienced that annoying ache in our neck after a long day of scrolling, or that tightness in our hips from sitting too much. We'll talk about how kinesiology can help us understand and prevent that pain. We'll explore the connection between movement and mental health, a huge topic right now. We'll look at some key research studies that have shaped the field, and we'll even touch on how kinesiology is used in sports medicine and physical therapy. Let's get started. First, let's talk about something that affects almost everyone: musculoskeletal pain. That's the fancy term for pain in your muscles, bones, joints, or tendons. Think back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, knee pain. A 2023 report from the Global Burden of Disease study found that musculoskeletal pain is the leading cause of disability worldwide, more than heart disease, more than diabetes, more than anything else. And here's the kicker: a lot of that pain is preventable. We understand how our bodies move. That's where kinesiology comes in. Let's use a common example: lower back pain. If you've ever had it, you know how miserable it is. It can make it hard to sit, stand, sleep, even walk. But why do so many of us get it? Kinesiologists will tell you that it's usually not from one big event like lifting a heavy box, though that can trigger it. It's from a lot of small, repeated movements or lack of movement over time. For example, slouching at your desk puts extra pressure on your lumbar spine, the lower part of your back. A 2022 study from the University of Sydney found that people who sit with a slouched posture for more than 4 hours a day have a 50% higher risk of developing chronic lower back pain than people who sit with a neutral posture. But here's the good news: kinesiology can teach us how to fix that. Biomechanists have studied the ideal sitting posture for years, and they've found that it's not about sitting up perfectly straight. That's actually hard on your back too. It's about having your feet flat on the floor, your knees at a 90-degree angle, your hips slightly higher than your knees, and your shoulders relaxed, no hunching. And it's about taking breaks every 30 minutes, stand up, stretch, walk around for a minute. That's a movement snack, remember? Those small breaks add up to big relief. Another common pain point: neck pain from looking at our phones. We call this text neck or tech neck, and it's a huge problem right now, especially with the rise of TikTok and Instagram Reels, where we're all scrolling for hours a day. A 2024 study from the American Chiropractic Association found that the average person tilts their head forward 45 degrees when looking at their phone, which puts the equivalent of 50 pounds of pressure on their neck. That's like carrying a small child on your neck all day, no wonder it hurts. Kinesiologists have a simple fix for this: hold your phone at eye level. It sounds small, but it makes a huge difference. And again, take breaks. Every time you scroll for 10 minutes, look up at the ceiling for 30 seconds, stretch your neck side to side, and roll your shoulders back. Your neck will thank you. Now, let's talk about the connection between movement and mental health, because this is where kinesiology goes from body science to life science. We've all heard that exercise is good for your mood, but why? What's the science behind it? Let's break it down with some research. First, endorphins. You've probably heard of them. They're the body's natural feel-good chemicals, and exercise releases them. But kinesiologists have found that it's not just about endorphins. A 2021 study from the University of Pittsburgh found that moderate exercise like walking or cycling can increase levels of a protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, in the brain. BDNF helps grow new brain cells and strengthens the connections between them, which can improve mood, reduce anxiety, and even boost memory. That's why a walk around the block can help you clear your head. When you're stressed, it's not just the fresh air, it's the BDNF working its magic. Another study, this one from the University of Cambridge in 2023, found that people who exercise regularly have a 30% lower risk of developing depression than people who don't exercise. And it's not just about intense exercise, even gentle movement like yoga or gardening has the same effect. The researchers think it's because movement gives us a sense of control. When we're moving our bodies, we're taking charge of our physical and mental health, which can counteract the feelings of helplessness that often come with depression or anxiety. This is a huge trend on social media right now, people sharing their movement for mental health journeys. On TikTok, the hashtag Move for Mental Health has over 2 billion views, with people posting videos of themselves walking, dancing, stretching, even just taking a few deep breaths. It's a reminder that movement isn't just about being fit, it's about being mentally well. And that's a message that kinesiologists have been trying to spread for years. Now, let's talk about some key research studies that have shaped the field of kinesiology, because no science exists in a vacuum. These are the studies that have changed the way we think about movement, and they're worth knowing about. First, the Framingham Heart Study. You've probably heard of it. It's one of the longest-running medical studies in history. Started in 1948 in Framingham, Massachusetts. While it's best known for studying heart disease, it's also taught us a lot about kinesiology. For example, the study found that people who are physically active have a lower risk of heart disease, stroke, and even dementia. It also found that physical activity is more important than weight when it comes to health, so even if you're not thin, moving your body regularly can keep you healthy. That's a game changer, because it challenges the idea that fitness is about a certain body type. Second, the Cooper Institute's Aerobics Center Longitudinal Study started in the 1970s by Dr. Kenneth Cooper, the father of aerobics. This study followed over 100,000 people for decades and found that cardiorespiratory fitness, the ability of your heart and lungs to supply oxygen to your body, is the single best predictor of longevity. In other words, how well you can move your body for a long period of time, like walking a mile or climbing a flight of stairs, is a better indicator of how long you'll live than your blood pressure, cholesterol levels, or even your family history. That's why kinesiologists emphasize cardio exercise like walking, running, swimming, or cycling. It's not just about burning calories, it's about adding years to your life. Third, the WUMAC Western Ontario and McMaster University's Osteoarthritis Index study started in the 1980s. This study changed the way we think about exercise and joint pain. For years, doctors told people with osteoarthritis, a common joint condition that causes pain and stiffness, to avoid exercise because they thought it would make the pain worse. But the WOMAC study found the opposite: gentle exercise like walking, swimming, or strength training can actually reduce osteoarthritis pain and improve mobility. It turns out that exercise strengthens the muscles around the joints, which acts like a cushion, reducing pressure on the bones. That's why physical therapists now prescribe exercise for people with osteoarthritis instead of telling them to rest. These studies are important because they show us that kinesiology isn't just a bunch of theories, it's based on real, rigorous research. And that research has changed the way we live our lives, from the way we sit at our desks to the way we treat chronic pain. Now, let's talk about how kinesiology is used in sports medicine and physical therapy, because this is where the rubber meets the road. Sports medicine is a branch of medicine that focuses on preventing and treating injuries related to sports and exercise, and kinesiology is its foundation. For example, when an athlete tears their ACL, a ligament in the knee, a sports medicine doctor will use kinesiologic principles to design a rehabilitation plan. The plan will include exercises to strengthen the muscles around the knee, improve balance, and restore range of motion based on biomechanics and motor learning. Physical therapy is similar. Physical therapists are experts in kinesiology, and they use it to help people recover from injuries, manage chronic pain, and improve their mobility. For example, a physical therapist working with someone who's had a stroke will use motor control principles to help them relearn how to walk or use their hands. They'll break the movement down into small steps, practice it repeatedly, and gradually make it more complex until the movement becomes automatic again. This is a hot topic on YouTube right now. Physical therapists sharing their tips for pain relief and injury prevention. Channels like Physio Advisor and Movement Fix have millions of subscribers, with videos on everything from how to fix your posture to how to recover from a hamstring strain. It's a sign that people are hungry for this kind of information. They want to understand their bodies, not just take painkillers or rest indefinitely. Let's take a moment to reflect again, because reflection is how we turn knowledge into wisdom. Think about a time when you had a pain or an injury that kept you from moving the way you wanted to. How did that make you feel? Did you feel frustrated, sad, helpless? Now, think about how it felt when you could move a Getaven a little bit. That's the power of movement. It's not just about physical ability, it's about quality of life. Kinesiology helps us appreciate that movement is a gift, not a chore. I want to leave you with a little test question to think about. We'll have more of these in our Living-ology blog post for this episode. Here it is. True or false? You need to exercise for at least 30 minutes a day to get health benefits from movement. Think about it. We've talked about movement snacks. We've talked about gentle movement. We've talked about research studies. What do you think? We will reveal the answer in part 4. Welcome back to part 3 of Y1W03, Introduction to Kinesiology, part of our Living-ology series. If you're feeling cozy, if if you're feeling curious, if you're even feeling a little bit sleepy perfect, that's exactly where we want you to be. In this part, we're going to explore 3 big topics: kinesiology for different life stages from kids to seniors, kinesiology and technology, a huge trend right now with wearables like Apple Watches and Fitbits, and kinesiology and nutrition because movement and food go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. We'll also talk about some more key theories, some real-world examples, and we'll debunk a few more myths that are floating around the fitness world. Let's dive in. First, kinesiology for different life stages. One of the biggest misconceptions about kinesiology is that it's only for athletes or young people, but that's not true at all. Movement is important at every age, from the moment we're born to the moment we're old and gray, and kinesiology has something to teach us about each stage of life. Let's break it down. Let's start with kids. If you've ever watched a toddler run around a playground, you know that kids are natural movers. They can't sit still, and they don't want to. But as kids get older, as they start school, as they get more screen time, that natural movement can start to fade. A 2024 study from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, found that only 25% of kids in the US get the recommended 60 minutes of physical activity a day. That's a problem, because movement is crucial for kids' development, both physical and mental. Kinesiologists tell us that kids need unstructured play as much as they need structured exercise. Unstructured play, like climbing trees, running around, playing tag, helps kids develop their motor skills, their balance, their coordination, and their creativity. Structured exercise like soccer practice or dance classes is great too, but it's not a replacement for free play. A 2023 study from the University of Edinburgh found that kids who have more unstructured playtime have better problem-solving skills and are less likely to develop anxiety or depression later in life. That's why playgrounds are so important. They're not just places to have fun, they're places to learn how to move, how to interact, how to be a kid. Now, teenagers. This is a tricky age. Teens are dealing with hormones, school stress, social pressure, and a lot of screen time. A 2022 study from the Pew Research Center found that 97% of teens in the US have a smartphone, and they spend an average of 7 hours a day on it, excluding schoolwork. That's a lot of sitting, and it's taking a toll on their bodies and their minds. But kinesiology can help. For example, team sports are a great way for teens to get movement and social connection to things they need right now. A 2024 study from the University of Michigan found that teens who play team sports have higher self-esteem, better grades, and are less likely to engage in risky behaviors than teens who don't play sports. But it's not just team sports. Yoga, skateboarding, hiking, even dancing in their bedrooms, all of these are great forms of movement for teens. The key is to let them choose what they like, because if they enjoy it, they'll stick with it. Next, young adults. This is the age when many of us start working full-time, which means more sitting, more stress, and less time for movement. A 2023 study from the Bureau of Labor Statistics found that the average young adult in the US works 40 hours a week, and most of that is spent sitting at a desk. That's why movement snacks are so important for young adults. Squats while waiting for the microwave, a walk during lunch, stretching during a work call. It's also a great time to develop good habits like taking a daily walk or doing a 10-minute yoga flow before bed. These habits will stick with you for the rest of your life, and they'll make a huge difference in your health. Then, middle-aged adults. This is the age when many of us start to notice changes in our bodies. Our metabolism slows down, our joints start to ache, we have less energy than we used to, but kinesiology tells us that these changes are not inevitable. We can slow them down with movement. Strength training is especially important for middle-aged adults because it helps build muscle mass, which decreases as we get older. A 2022 study from the University of Alabama found that strength training twice a week can increase muscle mass by 10% in middle-aged adults, even if they've never lifted weights before. It also helps with bone density, which decreases as we get older, reducing the risk of osteoporosis. And cardio exercise like walking, running, or cycling helps keep our hearts healthy and our energy levels up. Finally, seniors. This is where kinesiology really shines, because movement can improve quality of life in so many ways. A 2024 study from the National Institute on Aging found that seniors who exercise regularly have a 40% lower risk of falling than seniors who don't exercise. Falling is a huge problem for senior cits, the leading cause of injury and hospitalization, but movement can help prevent it by improving balance, strength, and coordination. Gentle exercises like Tai Chi, yoga, and chair exercises are perfect for seniors. They don't require any equipment, they're low impact, and they're easy to modify for different abilities. And the benefits aren't just physical. Seniors who exercise regularly have better cognitive function, better mood, and are more likely to stay independent as they get older. That's the beauty of kinesiology, is for everyone, no matter how old you are, no matter what your ability level is. Movement is a universal language, and kinesiology is the dictionary that helps us understand it. Now, let's talk about kinesiology and technology, because this is a trend that's not going away anytime soon. Wearable technology like Apple Watches, Fitbits, Garmin watches, and even smart rings has exploded in popularity over the past few years. A 2023 study from Statista found that 30% of adults worldwide own a wearable device, and that number is only going up. These devices track everything from steps and calories to heart rate and sleep quality, and they're a great tool for kinesiology, both for individuals and for researchers. For individuals, wearables can help us be more aware of our movement. For example, if your Apple Watch tells you that you've been sitting for too long, it will remind you to stand up and move around. If your Fitbit tells you that you only got 5,000 steps today, you might decide to take a walk after dinner. But kinesiologists warn that we shouldn't get too obsessed with the numbers. Remember the 10,000 steps myth? The same goes for calories burned or heart rate zones. They're just data points, not a measure of your worth or your health. The key is to use the data to be more aware, not to stress about hitting a certain number. For researchers, wearables are a goldmine of data. A 2024 study from Stanford University used data from 10,000 Fitbit users to study how movement patterns affect sleep quality. They found that people who move more during the day have better sleep at night. No surprise there, but they also found that the timing of movement matters. For example, exercising too close to bedtime can make it harder to fall asleep, while exercising in the morning can improve sleep quality. This kind of research would have been impossible without wearable technology. It's a game changer for kinesiology. Another tech trend in kinesiology is virtual reality VR and augmented reality AR. VR is being used in physical therapy to help people recover from injuries. For example, a patient recovering from a stroke can use a VR headset to practice walking in a virtual environment, which can help them relearn the movement faster. AR is being used in sports training. For example, soccer players can use AR glasses to see real-time feedback on their kicking technique. A 2023 study from the University of Southern California found that athletes who use AR training improve their performance 20% faster than athletes who use traditional training methods. It's a sign that technology and kinesiology are a perfect match. They can help us move better, faster, and safer. Now, let's talk about kinesiology and nutrition, because you can't have a healthy body without both movement and good food. They're like two sides of the same coin. You need both to be healthy. Kinesiologists have studied the connection between movement and nutrition for years, and they've found that they work together in some amazing ways. First, exercise helps your body use food more efficiently. For example, when you exercise, your muscles need more energy, so they take up glucose sugar from your blood more effectively. That's why exercise is a key part of managing diabetes. It helps lower blood sugar levels. A 2022 study from the American Diabetes Association found that regular exercise can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 58% even if you don't change your diet. But combining exercise with a healthy diet is even better. It's a 1-2 punch for your health. Second, nutrition helps your body perform better during exercise. For example, eating a banana before a workout gives you the energy you need to keep going, and drinking water during a workout keeps you hydrated. Eating protein after a workout helps your muscles recover faster. A 2024 study from the International Society of Sports Nutrition found that athletes who eat a balanced diet with enough protein and carbohydrates have better performance and faster recovery than athletes who don't. But you don't have to be an athlete to benefit, even if you're just taking a walk around the block. Eating a healthy snack before you go will give you more energy. Third, movement and nutrition both affect your mood. We've talked about how exercise releases endorphins and BDNF, but food does too. For example, eating foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, nuts, and seeds can improve mood and reduce anxiety. Eating foods rich in vitamin D like eggs and fatty fish can help with depression. A 2023 study from the University of Oxford found that people who eat a healthy diet and exercise regularly have a 50% lower risk of developing depression than people who do neither. It's a reminder that taking care of your body is taking care of your mind. Let's debunk another myth while we're at it. You have to eat a low-carb diet to get fit. This is a popular myth, especially with the rise of the keto diet and the paleo diet. But kinesiologists and nutritionists agree that carbohydrates are essential for energy, especially if you're exercising regularly. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred source of fuel, and without them, you'll feel tired, sluggish, and unable to perform at your best. The key is to eat the right kind of carbohydrates: whole grains, fruits, vegetables instead of refined carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, and pastries. A 2024 study from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that people who eat a diet rich in whole grains have a lower risk of heart disease and diabetes than people who eat a diet rich in refined grains. So don't fear carbs, embrace the right ones. Let's take a moment to reflect, because reflection is what makes Living-ology different from other science podcasts. Think about how your movement and nutrition habits are connected. Do you eat better when you exercise more? Do you exercise more when you eat better? Or is it the other way around? How can you make small changes to both, like taking a daily walk and eating an extra serving of vegetables to improve your health? Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Here's another test question for our blog post. True or false? Strength training is only for young people who want to build muscle. Think about what we've talked about: strength training for middle-aged adults, strength training for seniors, the benefits of strength training for bone density and balance. What do you think? We'll reveal the answer in part 4. Before we wrap up part 3, let's do one more tiny movement exercise. Stand up if you can, or stay seated if you prefer. Lift one leg slightly off the ground and balance for 10 seconds. Then switch legs. Feel that? That's your core working to keep you stable. That's kinesiology in action. It's simple, it's effective, and it's something you can do anywhere. And as always, if you're getting something out of this EFU, you're learning how to move better, how to feel better, how to live better, hit that like button, share this with a friend or family member who could use this information, and save it so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder to move your body. Whether you're listening to this on your commute, while you're cleaning the house, or while you're lying in bed ready to sleep, we're glad you're here. Let's head into part 4. Welcome to the final part of Y1W03, Introduction to Kinesiology, part of our Living-ology series. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You've learned what kinesiology is, you've explored its core pillars, you've talked about movement and pain, movement and mental health, movement across life stages, movement and technology, and movement and nutrition. You've debunked myths, you've done tiny movement exercises, you've reflected on your own habits, and if you're feeling a little sleepy even better, that's exactly what we want, because sleep is one of the most important parts of a healthy life, and we're glad we could be part of your bedtime routine. In this final part, we're going to do 4 things. First, we'll reveal the answers to our test questions from parts 2 and 3. Second, we'll make some predictions about the future of kinesiology, where the field is going, and how it will affect our lives in the years to come. Third, we'll have a final reflection on how kinesiology can help us live better, more intentional lives. And fourth, we'll leave you with some actionable tips that you can start using tomorrow. No gym membership required, no fancy equipment needed. Let's get started. First, the test questions. Let's see how you did. From part 2, the question was true or false. You need to exercise for at least 30 minutes a day to get health benefits from movement. The answer is false. Remember, we talked about movement, snacks, small bursts of movement throughout the day. A 2024 study from the University of Toronto found that even 10 minutes of movement a day can have significant health benefits like lower blood pressure and better mood. The key is consistency, not duration. You don't need to block out 30 minutes or an hour, you just need to move a little bit, often. From part 3, the question was, true or false? Strength training is only for young people who want to build muscle. The answer is false. We talked about how strength training is crucial for middle-aged adults to maintain muscle mass and bone density, and for seniors to improve balance and reduce the risk of falling. A 2022 study from the University of Alabama found that strength training is beneficial for people of all ages. Even 80-year-olds can see improvements in strength and mobility with regular training. Strength training isn't just about building big muscles, it's about building a strong, functional body that can do the things you love for years to come. Great job if you got those right in. If you didn't, that's okay too. The point isn't to get a perfect score, it's to learn something new and to start thinking about movement in a different way. That's what Living-ology is all about. Now, let's talk about the future of kinesiology. What's next for this field? Based on current trends and research, there are 3 big things that we can expect to see in the next 10 years. First, personalized kinesiology. Right now, most fitness advice is one size fits all. Do 30 minutes of cardio a day, lift weights 3 times a week. But kinesiologists are moving towards personalized advice based on your genetics, your lifestyle, your goals, and your health conditions. For example, a genetic test might tell you that you're more prone to knee injuries, so your kinesiologist would recommend low-impact exercises like swimming or cycling instead of running. A 2024 study from the University of California, San Francisco found that personalized exercise plans are 30% more effective than one-size-fits-all plans because they're tailored to your unique needs. We can expect to see more of this in the future apps that use your DNA to create a custom exercise plan, wearable devices that adjust their recommendations based on your health data, and virtual kinesiologists who can give you personalized advice from the comfort of your home. Second, kinesiology and mental health integration. We've talked about the connection between movement and mental health, but in the future, this connection will be even stronger. We can expect to see more mental health professionals prescribing movement as part of treatment for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. We can expect to see more gyms and fitness studios offering mental health services like yoga classes combined with therapy or walking groups led by psychologists. We can expect to see more research on how specific movements affect specific mental health conditions, for example, how Tai Chi helps with PTSD or how dancing helps with depression. A 2023 study from the World Psychiatric Association found that movement is just as effective as medication for mild to moderate depression, and it has fewer side effects. This is a game changer, and it's going to change the way we think about mental health treatment. Third, kinesiology for planetary health. This is a newer trend, but it's one that's gaining traction fast. Planetary health is about the connection between human health and the health of the planet, and kinesiology has a role to play here. For example, walking or biking instead of driving reduces your carbon footprint and improves your health. Gardening is a great form of movement that also helps you grow your own food, reducing your reliance on industrial agriculture. A 2024 study from the University of Oxford found that people who engage in eco-movement activities like walking, biking, gardening, or hiking have better physical and mental health than people who engage in carbon-intensive activities like driving to the gym or using a treadmill powered by fossil fuels. We can expect to see more of this in the future, fitness trends that are good for you and good for the planet, kinesiologists who specialize in eco-movement, and cities that are designed to encourage walking, biking, and outdoor movement. It's a win-win for people and the planet. These predictions are exciting, and they show that kinesiology is a field that's constantly evolving, adapting to new research, new technology, and new challenges. It's not just a science of the body, it's a science of the future. Now, let's have a final reflection, because this is where we turn all this knowledge into wisdom. Kinesiology is more than just the study of movement. It's the study of what it means to be human, because movement is part of our DNA. We evolved to move, to walk, to run, to climb, to dance. But in our modern world, we've forgotten that. We've traded walking for driving, we've traded playing for scrolling, we've traded movement for stillness, and it's taken a toll on our bodies, our minds, and our planet. But kinesiology gives us hope. It tells us that it's never too late to start moving. It tells us that movement doesn't have to be hard or boring or expensive. It tells us that movement is a gift, one that we can give ourselves every single day, no matter who we are, no matter where we are, no matter how old we are. Think about what movement means to you. Is it walking in the park with your dog? Is it dancing in your kitchen to your favorite song? Is it gardening in your backyard? Is it doing a few stretches before bed? Whatever it is, embrace it, cherish it, make it a part of your life. Because movement isn't just about being healthy, it's about being alive. Now, let's leave you with 5 actionable tips that you can start using tomorrow. Tiny changes that can make a big difference in your life. These tips are based on everything we've talked about today, and they're designed to be easy, sustainable, and enjoyable. 1. Take 1 movement snack every hour. Set a timer on your phone every hour. Stand up, stretch, walk around for a minute, do 10 squats, or wiggle your toes. It's a small change, but it adds up to big benefits. 2. Hold your phone at eye level. This will reduce the pressure on your neck and prevent tech neck. It's a simple habit that can save you a lot of pain. 3. Try 1 new movement this week. It can be anything: yoga, hiking, dancing, skateboarding, gardening. Just pick something you've always wanted to try and give it a go. You might surprise yourself for pair movement with something you love. If you love listening to podcasts, listen to them while you walk. If you love watching TV, do stretches while you watch. If you love talking to your friends, go for a walk with them instead of sitting at a coffee shop. It makes movement feel like a treat, not a chore. 5. Be kind to yourself. Movement is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about moving your body in a way that feels good, not in a way that makes you feel guilty. If you miss a day, that's okay. If you can only move for 5 minutes, that's okay. Every step counts. Before we go, let's do one final thing, something we always do at the end of Living-ology episodes. Take a deep breath, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds. Do that 3 times. Feel your body relax. Feel your mind calm down. That's the power of intentional breathing and intentional movement. If it's just breathing. Now, a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this episode, if you learned something new, if you feel a little more relaxed and a little more curious about kinesiology, hit that like button, share this with a friend or family member who needs to hear it, and save it so you can come back to it whenever you need a reminder to move your body. This series is only possible because of you, because you're here, listening, learning, and growing with us. And finally, a message for those of you who are listening to this as you're getting ready for bed. Close your eyes. If you haven't already, think about one thing you're grateful for today. Maybe it's a walk you took, maybe it's a conversation you had, maybe it's just the fact that you're here, alive and well. Let that feeling of gratitude wash over you, and then drift off to sleep knowing that you've learned something new, knowing that you're taking steps to live a better life, knowing that you're part of the Living-ology community,